Hello, this is Horror Studio One, and this is my unedited podcast.
Hello, everybody. This is Horror Studio One coming to you once again with the unedited podcast. So, I guess thanks to popular opinion on my last podcast by a lot of you guys, it seems like you guys do enjoy the podcast, and even my friend, who's another YouTuber, shout outs to him, said that it's one of the main reasons he first subscribed to my channel. Of course, my podcast that I released last time has one of the most dislikes on in my videos for a very long time now, but regardless, there's people that love it and there's people that hate it, and I'm gonna do these probably like once a week. So for all those that love it, you guys get a treat, and for those who hate it, hey, just watch my other videos, man, it doesn't matter. So again, today I brought to you guys a topic that is close to my heart. Actually has to do with a family member of mine, and I think I've never told this story on any of my YouTube live streams, podcasts, anywhere, because that's kind of weird, because this is one of like the first true ghost stories I heard from somebody so close and so dear to me and in person in my life. So I don't know why I've never shared it. I think it was like more of a childhood memory for me that I kept in the back of my mind. So anyways, without further ado, but before starting the story, I wanted to tell you guys, I have a bunch of social medias. Yeah, I'm just gonna do some self-promo. Go like my Facebook, go follow me on Twitter, go to my Instagram that I have no photos, but try to follow me, and I will have something up soon. I know I'm so shit with social media, but hopefully I'll get that up as soon as possible for you guys. So without further ado, I get in trouble for rambling too much, even though it's so fun to do that in a podcast. But anyways, let's get to the story that you guys clicked here for, and it's true, and it happened actually to my grandma, which is kind of weird because I know a lot of my family members, especially my mom, watches my YouTube videos. So the fact that she's gonna hear this, it kind of makes it feel weird. But anyways, let's try to, I'll try to put it as the best I can, because I really did hear the story many years ago when I was around 11 or 12 years old. But hopefully I do the story justice, and it is a true story that I believe actually, happened. So before I get into the story, I'll tell you guys how I heard this story. So back in around 2004, 2005, I myself, I live in Toronto. We have some relatives that live in Vancouver, which is on the other side of Canada. So, we went to visit them and, basically sleep on their couch and sleep in some of their spare rooms. It was a relative on my father's side. And along with us were me, my mom, my dad, my cousins, my aunts and uncles, and also my grandmother on my father's side, which is, I think it was her first time coming to Canada as well. So we all went to visit, and we all got to catch up and have a good time. We did a lot of stuff, but one thing that my grandma really did do, because there was a lot of us cousins and we were all really young, she told us a lot of stories about her life. And as she was telling stories about her life, because my grandma was born in an era where she lived through World War II. She has a lot of sad stories about that, and every time she tells a story about her past and her experiences with a World War II, I think she was either a child or in her teens when World War II happened. Tears would always be in her eyes because she would remember those days and how hard they were and how much family that she had lost during that time. And I know a lot of older people, especially because I myself am Chinese. A lot of the older men and women, when they talk about those experiences, they're really horrific because, it's just one country coming in to invade another country and rape and pillage and kill and murder. It's really a horrible thing that us as people living in this generation, I'm a 90s kid in Canada, I grew up watching Nickelodeon and, High School Musical and listening to playing Pokemon. I don't understand that world. It's two separate worlds. And my grandma shared a lot of the stories from her past, when she was a kid. She was living in China, and then the Japanese, they invaded China. They invaded all of Asia actually, and they invaded China, and she lost her brother in that war as well. And she would cry every time she talked about that, and she would tell us experiences about when she used to work in a factory owned by Japanese people, because they were so poor. Even though they hated them during that time, they were still forced to work in their factories and become employees of them. Just stuff like that. And she would tell us when she was a teen of the jobs that she would do and stuff like that. She never told us how she met my grandfather, which I don't know, like, I guess it's not that interesting. Maybe, I don't even know. I'm sorry if it was interesting. I apologize. But she was telling us stories of her work life actually in that Japanese factory, but it was in China though. It was in China when this happened. And she said that, it was one late night, she just hated her boss, but every day she would basically work till the wee hours of the night, always having to come home like close to midnight. And back in those days, I don't think there were street lamps. There were not a lot of street lights, and there was no cars. Like, she couldn't drive. My grandma doesn't know how to drive to this day. I mean, she grew up in an era where cars were not a thing for just the average person kind of thing. So she basically had to ride her bike to and from work every single day. So after working in the factory, finishing up, she would basically have to ride her bike home, which was like, like a small wooden house kind of thing, in the area. And, it was late at night, at midnight, and she was riding home as usual, trying to be cautious, be careful, And as she was going home, she started to feel like very sick already for some reason. And like her head was like really heavy, and she was like nauseous for some strange reason. But she thought just that she was working too hard, but she had work the next morning, the next day as well. So she wanted to go home and go to bed, right? So she goes home, she goes into the shower, she showers, and she goes to bed. And then apparently, my grandma was like 18 or 19, just very young, but before 30 for sure. Okay, I'm not even, but so she goes to bed. There's no one else awake. She's the last one to get into bed. Obviously, it's super late at night, and she's just lying there when she suddenly says that she couldn't move, but she could move her eyes and she could see. And in the far distance of the room, she sees this figure appear basically, and it's the figure of a Japanese soldier, just angrily staring at her. And I think at that moment, she knew that the figure was not a human being. It was a apparition, a spirit, a ghost. So she's looking at this thing, and this thing is angrily staring at her, right? Staring at her, but just not moving, just staring at her. And she couldn't move at all. She couldn't scream. She couldn't blink her eyes. She was just looking at this thing as the thing starts slowly floating towards her, closer and closer and closer, until she closes her eyes. She was able to close her eyes, put the covers over her head, and just fucking hope that it goes away. Eventually, she, I guess she's brave enough to uncover herself from the blankets and look, and of course the figure's not there anymore, but she got super sick. She was so sick she could not go to work. I'm not sure the time span that she said she was sick for, she was ill for. It was a very long time. She was to the point of almost, honestly, she said she was about to die, and her family didn't know what the hell was going on, like what was going on with her, why she was suddenly ill. All of a sudden she was fine yesterday, but now she's has fever, just crazy sick. Then obviously the family decides to go to a priest to tell him the situation and what happened. And apparently he said something along the lines of, yes, there was a ghost that followed my grandma home. And one thing that the priest did was do some kind of ritual. And this is the part that always gets me and my cousins. Like, me and my cousin, I remember me and my cousin, we were listening to my grandma tell a story together on the couch in Vancouver at the time, because it was late at night and we had nothing to do. We were just asking her random questions, and she told us this. This was the moment that we always look back upon when we see each other and we talk about this story. Was my grandma said the priest basically, to cure my grandmother, he knew everything was going on. Like, I guess he didn't really explain to them the whole story about, the background of the apparition, how he followed her, why he followed her. I don't know, maybe I forgot, or my grandma didn't tell me. I don't know. Basically though, he said he had a solution for them. So what he did was he got out a knife, and then he plunged it into my grandmother's, I forget, left or right leg. And there was a hole, obviously. There was a wound. And then they just squeezed out this kind of like yellowish, nasty stuff. Stuff out, okay? It's just nasty stuff. He squeezed the stuff out. I guess my grandmother was in total pain. She didn't tell us if she was in pain at that moment. I'm guessing it would be extremely painful. Oh yeah, and one thing, it was because my grandma's like legs and arms, they were quite swollen at the time. It was that bad of a disease. So squeezed it out, okay, this kind of like nasty stuff from her leg. I don't know if it was both legs or just that one leg that was swollen, but it was obviously a swollen leg that the priest plunged a knife into. And afterwards, she was cured. She slowly started to recover, slowly started to get back to work, slowly restarted her life again. But the thing that always catches me and my cousin is after she told us that point of the story, she grabs her foot, she pulls up the pants kind of thing, like the thing, and she showed us that wound. It was still there. That wound that allegedly was plunged the knife from the priest. The wound was still there. And there was a scar. And, that made us believe in the story. I mean, I don't know why, she would make something up like that. I mean, right now, my grandma is still, thank God, here with us. She's, like almost quite old, like 80 something, close to 90. But I still remember the story that she told us over 10 years ago. The story of her youth. And I think, she's, like, my family, sometimes they have quite a bit of, some paranormal stuff as well. Maybe that's kind of why I like to do this kind of stuff on YouTube, like the paranormal ghost stuff. I'm not sure. But I myself have never experienced it, but I have a lot of family members who have a little bit of contact with this kind of stuff. So I have no reason to doubt my grandmother's story. It's just something that I always remember as a childhood story that I was told to from my grandparents. But overall, I believe her. And yeah, that scared the shit out of me, basically. I had to sleep with my mom that night. I was only 11, okay? Anyways, guys, that is the story of what we're gonna tell you guys about today. And you know what? It feels so good to be back to doing these podcasts again. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the stories, and hopefully you guys are having a good day. Dude, come on, man. We're almost gonna hit 130K. Hopefully that happens soon. And yeah, maybe I'll do a celebration or something during that time as well. Not sure. But anyways, I love you guys so much, and thank you guys for tuning in with the podcast. There's always a special place in my heart for the fans that listen to the podcast and listen to the live streams, because those ones I feel like I'm more personal with you guys instead of just playing a character or being a narrator or just being someone like behind a facade. I feel like I can be really myself, the person who's running this YouTube channel. And again, I love YouTube so much. I'll never give it up. I love you guys a lot, and I love YouTube. I love YouTube. I love YouTube. Seriously, YouTube is the friggin' best, dude. It's the best job in the world, honestly. But I have other ambitions in my life, going to do many things. Hopefully I'll accomplish something someday. I think many of you guys know, like what I'm trying to strive for and what I'm going for in my life. Hopefully I'll make it, and yeah, I'll never forget you guys though. Thank you guys. YouTube's the best. Anyways, love you guys so much, and stay tuned for another video tomorrow, as always. And subscribe to my social medias, man. Please do. Anyways, love you. Bye.